Hi guys, and welcome to AirAbility, your regular dose of lead therapy from the bottom end of my freezing December shed. By gum, I am suffering for my heart today and feeling slightly miserable for myself, but I'm doing it for you. And what I'm going to talk about today is this. You might have noticed in the last video that I had a new base for my SEB mini rest. Now, if you want to catch up on the SEB mini rest story so far, if you look all the way back to video number 19, it talks about how when I got my SEB mini rest, it was too high for me because I'm short, and even on its lowest setting, I was shooting up into the sky with it. So what I did was I fashioned a new base for the SEB mini rest head to sit on so it was lower for me. I first off made one out of perspex because it was easy to work with, and then I came up with this, which is basically a aluminium plate with a hole in to accommodate the rest and 3 height adjustment and leveling screws. And this worked really well for me. You know, it won me 2 tournaments this year, got me some other places, but it's a bit light, and you know, there's limitations to my can't buy it, build it mentality when you've only got a jigsaw and a battery operated drill. Things come out functional, but they don't always come out sexy. And now if you think a big part of bench rest is looking the part and feeling the part, and I've got all these beautiful guns and stocks and things like that, but I always felt a little let down with how my rest looked, because it looked like basically I'd built it. So I was talking to one of the guys on the tour, David Hopkins, and he was telling me about how he'd made some different modifications to his SEB mini rest. And, you know, although impressed, I didn't really think much about it until later in the year when I decided I needed to upgrade my rest so one, it looked like a rest and it functioned more like a traditional base than my flimsy attempt that I made. So I approached Dave, and Dave said, yeah, let's see what we can do. And I sent him down a big square of aluminium, 20mm thick, and we did a couple of designs. We were going for like a boomerang flying V guitar sort of design, and then we you know, after he was suggesting different things, we went for a design with a more indented front end of the V to accommodate the joystick when it goes down, so it doesn't catch any of the base because it, you know, it is low. So David started talking to me about what I'd done to make my original rest, and it was quite funny because as David understood the depths, low depths of my hillbilly engineering skills, at one point I felt he'd lost all respect for me. But joking aside, I explained that, you know, due to the lack of tools and any form of ability, I had an aluminium plate. I didn't even cut it to the appropriate shape. I cut 3 holes in for the leveling bushes. I epoxied them in because, you know, I didn't have any engineering tools to thread them, etc. And it worked great. And those bushes that I epoxied in, the leveling screws went through them, and they were actually hi-fi pins for speakers that I'd bought off eBay. But all in all, it was working well. And then David said to me, so the bottom end of the rest head has like about, you know, 15cm huge 25mm threaded bolt on the bottom, which is used for the coarse height adjustment in the rest. What do you do with that? And I think Dave's opinion of me reached an all-time low when I explained that I didn't do anything with that bolt that came out the bottom of the rest head. I actually drilled a hole in my desk so it would go through, and I could get the rest head nice and low. So at that point, the only way was up, and Dave actually produced the rest base. He you know, put some threaded bushes in. He used 2 of the original SEB threaded feet, and then he actually made another one which matches perfectly. And after all that, he bead blasted the whole thing to give it this nice, you know, muted kind of surface that's you know, looks really professional, and you know, it'll last forever. And he sent it back to me, and you know, that's the beginning of the story. I put the rest head on it, and it looks absolutely fantastic. It works great. It's just that little bit heavier. It looks the part, makes me feel the part, you know, and that's half the story, isn't it? Here's a quick video about how it works. As you can see here, you know, it's quite smooth, and it's fit for purpose. Well, I think the time in the shed was making me a little hypothermic, and I went a bit doolally because I seem to be saying, you know, an awful lot. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, let's take a moment to say a really big thank you to David Hopkins for making me this fantastic rest base. And yes, before people ask, I have cut off the excess of the mounting bolt on the bottom of the rest head now that I'm going to be keeping it on this base. I would just like to say that I think this whole story is a great example of you know, the air gunning community, people helping people sharing knowledge. Like I try to share knowledge, you know, my limited knowledge that I have, I try to share it through my videos. And you know, it's a fantastic example of the airgun community, the way David said, yep, I'll help you, and he made me this fantastic base, you know, and I'll never need another one, and this is gonna last me for as long as I shoot, and I'm over the moon with it. So remember, guys, if you can't buy it or build it, there's always somebody who can. So remember, you keep living that airgun dream, guys, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.